guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah and happy Halloween. I'm the meme. Google a meme, okay? If you don't get the meme, you don't get the meme. You're not on my side of TikTok, okay? But we're gonna recap and review Real Housewives of New York. This is season 14, episode 16, and the final part of the reunion. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So let's get into it. And if you don't know what I am, Google that meme. But happy Halloween, for real, for real. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. So I don't know when this will be posted. If it's posted on November the 1st, I hope you had a wonderful time at Halloween. I hope you were safe. I hope if you got kids, the kids had a lot of candy. You know, ration it out, but give them all their candy. Don't eat the baby's candy. And if this is posted on Halloween, be safe going out. Have a good time. You know, like my daddy said, keep your head on a swivel. But have a good time, have a good time. So let's get into this review. So the episode opens up where it left off, where we got Jessel pretty much going at Sai and Aaron. Basically like, y'all probably tried to insinuate that my husband was out here in these streets moving dirty. And they were like, no, we weren't. And she was like, yeah, y'all tried to insinuate him going to Vietnam was for him to either do something he ain't had no business doing or he had a secret family over there. And Aaron and Sai are like, no. And it's like, did y'all forget that, like, we have footage of this? So they showed the conversation between Aaron and Sai when they were on FaceTime, where they pretty much did insinuate that Pavitt was going to Vietnam doing something he ain't had no business doing. And Andy was like, isn't it just a mileage run? And she was like, yeah. Then you have Jenna chiming in being like, yeah, like I kind of felt bad for Jessel, which I'm like, Jenna, why didn't you speak up during the season and be like, because Jenna ends up saying that like, no, I had a friend that also does mileage runs. So it is something that people do. And I'm like, where were you all season, Jenna? You could have co-signed. But they start talking. Andy brings up like, well, Jessel, did you explain to them about your postpartum? And she's like, yeah, but then you have Aaron and Simon be like, no, we didn't know it to what extent it was until we looked at the confessionals. And then, they show the confessionals of Jessel talking about how she had 5 cycles of IVF, how it was very taxing on her body, and she just doesn't feel like herself. And they were like, yeah, if we would have saw that, we would have kind of backed off. My thing is, you should not have to know somebody's medical history to back up off of them. And as the 2 married women on the show, y'all should be asking Pavitt how he sustained himself for 2 years without getting any booty. Because if you ask me, your husband's basically told y'all, in a year, if you don't give up that ass, I'm gonna be in somebody's burrow clapping their cheeks. Okay? This man was cool with not getting sex and just a little bit of sloppy toppy, and was still being supportive and respectful to his wife. Y'all's husbands basically told y'all, you don't give me what I want, somebody else will. So y'all look stupid to me. And my thing is like, did I think it was kind of weird that Pavitt was like, yeah, I'm going to Vietnam. I said for 24 hours. Yeah, I was like, 24 hours. But then after watching his video and seeing other people in the comments explaining what a mileage run is, and even people on Twitter, I was like, oh, okay, it's a common thing people do. So once I found out that it was something that is common that people do to keep their points, I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Y'all made, like Aaron and Sai made it a big deal when it didn't need to be a big deal. It really didn't. So then, they start talking about the whole cackling has comment. I didn't care. I thought it was funny. So they then someone's like, a viewer question was posed where they were like, I think the downfall of Sai and Jessel's relationship was when they were in the Hamptons, when Jessel didn't like the lingerie that Jenna gave her. And Sai spoke up for Jenna because she could tell that Jenna wasn't going to speak up for herself. I honestly thought the lingerie that Jenna gave Jessel was ugly. And it gave very much, you think I'm fat tease. And as somebody who is fat, we can tell when people think we fat. It's just, it is what it is. it is what it is. You can tell when the way they give you things, how your item is uglier than everybody else's. And let's call a thing a thing. Jessel's lingerie outfit was ugly. You gave Uba this very sleek champagne lingerie. You gave Aaron a 2-piece. You gave Sai a nice see-through I think it was like maybe a onesie outfit, and then you give me this ugly green Christmas tree. Thing was ugly. The thing was ugly. And after Jessel has explained to y'all that she's not really comfortable in her body, you then present me with this. Now, if I was Jessel, would I have reacted that way? No. But I definitely would have told Jenna, like, I'm not, like, thank you for the gift. It's cool. I appreciate that you thought of me. It's cold in this house because Aaron ain't got no heat on. But when I get home, I'm going to wear it for my man. Knowing good well I ain't wearing it for my man. It's going to the Goodwill or the next Salvation Army. Either way, I don't want it because it's ugly. But Jessel was doing a bit much. Jessel ends up apologizing for that. Then the next viewer question was like, Sai and Aaron, y'all were mad that Jenna wasn't opening up to y'all. But when Jessel opens up, y'all critique and nitpick her story. And I'm like, yeah, that is true. Y'all did do that. So then they end up showing the flashback when they're on the knot yacht and Sai is yelling at Jessel. That's when Jessel should have cussed Sai the smooth to clean out. Had it been me, I'd have cussed her out. There's just we would have been on that boat arguing. So Jessel was like, yeah, y'all did question my story. Y'all tried to act like I had a wealthy uncle. I did this and that. And honestly, the only two people that were playing the oppression Olympics were Sai and Aaron. Nobody else on the couch was like, or on that stage was comparing stories. You have Aaron being like, well, we hear everyone's sad story and difficult childhood. And then here you come. And it just, no, okay. Y'all, we live in America. You're acting like nobody, even back then, wasn't like 3 or 4 paychecks away from being like on Skid Row. Like, let's not play these games. Like, unless you're like uber wealthy that like you can miss a couple of, like, it was just irritating. It was irritating. And even if she was having a rich uncle or whatever, why does that matter? None of y'all are broke now. So, hold up, y'all. Lost my notes. So then they start talking about the alcoholic mom and the alcoholic uncle. I'm going to just speak plain because I keep trying to like, I keep thinking about how I want to say this. But what I'm going to say is they're playing like, again, playing the oppression Olympics. You can't tell somebody that their uncle isn't the same as someone's mom, especially if you do not know the role that that person's uncle played in their life. Like, an uncle could be a stand-in parent, a father, or a mom if they took you in. Like, and it like you can't do that because there's a lot of people out here who don't have the best relationships with their moms or with their parents or dads. So you can't sit here and tell Jessel that not her dad, but that her uncle wasn't on the same level as your mom. Especially when Jessel ends up saying that, like, no, my uncle was like a father figure. And I was glad that Uba spoke up and said that, you know, in some cultures, like, our uncles and aunts are like our second parents. So I just felt like, ugh, okay. So then Sai ends up being like, well, you know, it was fresh. My mom died Okay, your mom died 5 months ago. And that is not to belittle what Sai has went through with the passing of her mom. I am still dealing with grief. It's coming up on a year that my grandma has passed away. And it's still like I can feel my throat. Still bothers me at times, but I don't get the right to be a bitch. I can't just be nasty to people because my grandma passed away. I can't do that. I don't have that right to do that. Neither does Sai. So you can't sit here and constantly bring up that your mom has passed away, that she had battled with alcoholism. And then when people start to try to talk to you about it or talk about it, you're like, I don't want to talk about my mom. Then don't bring her up. Don't bring her up. Like, you can't bring up something and then when people like to talk about it or want to talk about it, you're like, I don't want to talk about that with you. Then don't talk about it with me in the first place. So then Jessel ends up apologizing and Bryn is just kind of like, I wish you would stop apologizing. And I was kind of with Bryn, like, girl, stop apologizing. Like, if I was Jessel, I wouldn't apologize. Like, I did nothing wrong. Yes, I was trying to relate to you, but my uncle is just as important to me as your mom is. It is what it is. So then I think they start talking about how invested Aaron and Sai were in Jessel. Like, y'all were invested in my marriage. You were invested in tearing down my backstory and making me feel like it wasn't important. Like, y'all were dismissive. And they were like, no, we weren't. Y'all definitely were dismissive and nasty towards Jessel. Like, we just gonna have to call a spade a spade. And then Bryn was like, yeah, like, why were y'all so like hell bent on like nitpicking the story? And you get Sai. Sai was so, she's like, Bryn, just be quiet. Like, no one's talking to you. Be quiet. And I'm like, okay, Sai. Like, don't get me wrong. At closer to the end, Bryn got on my nerves, and I wanted her to shut up. But in this point, I was like, okay, she ain't doing too much. She's not doing too much. So then we find out that Jessel and Sai have been hanging out outside of the show. If I was Jessel, I wouldn't be doing nobody no favors with my presence, because it's giving very much so that Sai sees what Jessel is benefiting from. And even Aaron, from like Rolling Stones to like her Instagram followers going up and all of that stuff, that now they want to have that same, like they want to be good with the fan favorites so that they can reciprocate. So they can also get the same treatment as Jessel does. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, they would have to come back for season 15 and be totally different, I think, for fans to open up to them. So next is Sai's package. So they do her package, and we get a lot more about how her mom passed away and what really happened. So pretty much Sai didn't know her mom was an alcoholic until she reached not fifth grade, but high school. She said, her mom dealt with mental illness, and unfortunately, she used alcohol to cope with it. And basically, the mom was living with Sai and David, I guess 3 months before she passed away. And she got really drunk in front of the kids. Maybe more happened to that situation. And David pretty much was like, she not staying in my house. She got to go. And so Sai kicked her out. And we also find out that, like, David is like, he did something to retire. I didn't really care. The way Andy asked that question about him retiring, it kind of gave, like, there's some shadiness going on around there. That's the way I took it. But she ends up saying, after that she died. And it really tears her up. She feels like she's responsible. And I was like, I felt bad for her, because it's like, she is a kid. She seems like she really loved her mom. But you cannot put that much blame on yourself. The fact that Sai ends up telling everyone that, like, she had to go get her mom from the hospital because she would go to Central Park and just get drunk and either hurt herself or fall down and hurt herself, and the police would call her and be like, hey, your mom at the hospital, go get her. That's a lot on somebody. And then Sai even talks about how, like, she is not very, like, she masses a lot of things, but it's time to go to therapy. Because I forgot to point this out in my reviews, but even though Sai says that, like, she's very loving with her kids, she does play the oppression Olympics with her kids as well. Like, when the daughter was explaining to her about her ballet situation, how she's excited, you have Sai being like, I never had that. Okay. In this moment, it's about your child. It's not about what you did not have. We get it. Most parents give their kids what they don't have. That's what they do. But that was her moment. But it feels like as they get older, I think Sai is going to be one of those parents that's like, see, I never had this, so you should just be grateful for whatever I give you. And it's like, if she doesn't want to end up like that, you definitely need to work on that, ma'am. You got to work on that. Yeah, you got to work on that. We definitely got to work on that, Miss Ma'am. We really do. So, everyone just told Sai, don't blame yourself for your mother's passing, because it's not her fault. It really isn't her fault. Like, as many shows, I used to watch Intervention, like, faithfully. And that show really taught me that the only way people who are battling addiction can get help is if they want it. And even sometimes when they want it, like, mentally it's just not there, because it, like, the brain is gone, the drugs be doing something, the alcohol be messing up, it messes you up, it alters things in your mind. So I feel like you can't blame yourself for that, especially if you did do your part by trying to help and they just didn't want it, then you can't force somebody to want your help. You just can't. So then they run Bryn's package. Everyone's laughing about it. She was happy to see her grandmother's picture. They bring up about her brother. They also talk about the British guy, and they're like, why are you not with him? The chemistry between y'all is crazy. And Bryn ends up explaining that every guy that has proposed to her after they broke up with her. And she's like, why do you need to break up with me to realize I'm a catch? And I understand that. I get that vibe. I get what she's saying with that. So she then starts talking about Aaron. They then talk about Aaron and Bryn's relationship. They bring up the whole divorce comment, and Bryn ends up apologizing because she was like, I really did not realize that I said divorce so many times. I was mortified. And Aaron was like, I didn't have a problem with like the flirting. It was more so the word divorce. And I'm like, two things. Okay. What's up, y'all? Editor Leah coming in, but I just had to make this statement. Andy does not like Aaron because this is the face Aaron made when Andy asked the shadiest question of the night. A viewer's question was like, why does Aaron look 45, but she's 35 and the youngest one on the show? That had no relevancy to this whole entire reunion. There was no need for Andy to ask this lady that question. I said the disrespect. Aaron being upset about the word divorce. Either one, she hasn't gotten over her parents divorcing, and that put a lot of strain on like the way she views divorce. Or two, Abe and you have gotten into it, and that man has told you a couple of times, girl, we could get a divorce and I could be done with you. Because the only time I've seen women really be like that is when their marriage is not in a good place. On all of these reality shows, people can kiki about divorce when they in a good place, but when they in a bad place, you can't kiki about that. And it's giving, there's something under there, girl. It's something under there. So we then have a conversation where I think Andy ends up saying, like, what is it between you and Bryn? Like, y'all's relationship. Like, how are y'all still so good? And Uba ends up chiming in and being like, their relationship is fake. And Aaron's like, why are you being so nasty? And then Bryn actually co-signs Aaron being like, Uba, this question is not directed to you and it's not fake. If I'm telling her I like her and I'm cool, then we're cool. And Uba's like, not with the way she be talking about you. So then Aaron ends up telling on herself where she's like, you know, people say things when they're angry. And I'm like, no, you're saying what you really want to say about somebody when you're angry. In my opinion, the only time I have ever said things about somebody that have been very hurtful and is like when I've been angry, but in my mind, I'm pretty much saying I don't want to be friends with you anymore. So if you find out about this, I can definitely tell you this to your face, and we don't have to be cool no more, because it is what it is. And I said what I said, and I meant what I said. But it's giving Aaron, you be saying shiesty stuff when you angry, but you don't want nobody to know about it because you want to be cool because you care about everybody. Okay. So then Uba is pretty much vindicated because there's I think they do like a Watch What Happens live footage where they're like, well, Bryn, how are you and Aaron cool when you told everybody that Aaron is not to be trusted? And so Bryn was like, well, the only reason why I said Aaron is not to be trusted is because I saw the episode where she was calling me a liar about the cheese plate. And then you got Uba being like, I'm vindicated. Like, y'all's relationship is weird and it's sick. And so you could tell that Uba was getting irritated very easily. Like, she kept shifting in her seat, and the look on her face was like she was upset, like she wanted to cry, and that she was just annoyed with everybody. It was really giving that. All right, y'all. So the next, well, honestly, the final part of the reunion was them talking about what happened in Anguilla. They talk about the whole phone gate situation, and Uba pretty much, I think Uba was like clear in what she felt and how she felt. I felt like some of the people on the couch were committed to not understanding until she got emotional. So pretty much we find out that, excuse me, y'all, Aaron had Uba's phone way longer than 45 minutes. It was probably a few hours. And that Aaron lied about saying that she texted Jessel, saying that she had that Jessel, like telling, Aaron lied about telling Jessel that she had Uba's phone. And Uba was like, you lied. We looked for the text message and it wasn't there. They then end up showing like unaired footage of like where Sai even told Aaron, like, no, sis, you lied. You sent an emoji. The only reason Jessel knew where the phone was is because I told them that the phone was in your room, or you had the phone. So Uba also explains herself as why she snatched them glasses off of Aaron's face, which was wrong. But Uba pretty much said, I cried to Jessel about it, and I told Jessel, like, hey, I'm really pissed off, but I'm going to refrain from talking to them. And Uba was like, I missed breakfast because I didn't want to talk to y'all. I said, probably by the time we get to the afternoon, I might feel better. You came down them steps telling me don't say your name and speaking to me any kind of way. So I checked you. I took your glasses like you took my phone. Now, again, Uba was wrong for snatching them glasses off of Aaron's face. But I understood where Uba was coming from, where it's like, if I'm not speaking to you, and I'm ignoring you, don't come down them steps telling me I can't say your name. Especially if I wasn't doing it in a derogatory way. They were trying to get a head count to see who all was there. And you talking about don't say my name. I can say whatever the hell I want to say. You not my mama. So that's when Uba was like, I already told y'all I go from 0 to 100. If I told you I'm sitting here being quiet, I'm not talking to you, why do you feel the need to speak to me? So Uba starts to get upset. She then was just like, they talked about how, like, Uba was like, you tried to act like I tried to gang everybody else up against you. Sai was like, yeah, it did kind of feel like you did that in the hot tub. And Uba was like, they're all adults. You got Aaron being like, it was really rough in the hot tub. So then Uba was just like, I did not want to fight with you. I didn't want to fight with you. I didn't want to fight with you, but I knew like it was going to happen once you checked me, because I'm not going to be getting checked. So then Brenda's sitting there like, I feel like we're going in circles. Like, I'm a single woman. Just put your locations on. And Uba was like, I didn't explain the locations part. My bad, y'all. So Uba pretty much explains that, like, in her family, because she's here in America and her family is in Canada, and then she also has family members that live overseas, they have like a massive family group chat, and they always like to check to make sure she's okay. So the way that they kind of like came to a compromise, because I guess Uba wasn't checking in, is that she, you know, participates in the family group chat. She lets them know she's okay in the morning, and she lets them know she's okay in the afternoon. And she was just like, that's the compromise my family had. Brenda's like, I feel like we're just going in a circle, just a constant circle. She was like, just have on your locations. And Uba was like, you could be dead with your location on. And I said, she not lying about that one, because you could be dead and the phone still be alive. So Uba's basically telling Bryn, shut up. Like, stop jumping into the conversation. They then start talking about the whole Uba hot situation, where Aaron, I think that's when Jenna, like, they start bringing up the whole, like, assertive versus being angry, because they bring up the angry black woman trope. And Uba pretty much said, I'm assertive, I'm not angry, but if I do get angry, you deserve my anger. And I said, I like that. If I got angry, you deserved my anger. So then they bring up about the whole like Jenna and Uba situation when Jenna invited the ladies over. Well, we found out it was Jenna's assistant who invited the ladies over and didn't tell the ladies that they were filming. And to me, I don't even think Uba was being mean or disrespectful towards Jenna. She just told Jenna, next time, just give me a heads up if we're going to be filming. Let's not act like if you want to look your best on camera. Uba's a model, and even if she wasn't a model, as a regular person, you don't want to come on camera looking any old kind of way. Some people are comfortable like that, but not everybody. And Uba being in the modeling industry, she is her marketing tool. Like, she is the billboard to show that, like, girl, I look good every day, all day, every day. But like, she didn't want to get caught slipping. So I got what she said, and what she told Jenna wasn't rude and it wasn't mean. She was just like, next time, just give me a heads up. So then Jenna is like, I wasn't trying to like dupe you or something. And Uba was like, I didn't think you were trying to dupe me. I was just being assertive and letting you know, just give me a heads up. Uba also took issue with Jenna being in her confessional being like, I'm on Aaron's side. And she's like, why do you need to be on the side? Like, you just need to pick right from wrong. Like, there was no need for you to be on someone's side. So then that's when Uba was just like, no, Bryn chimes in and was like, no, you were just being mean, or like you were being a bitch. When Uba was like, there's a difference between being assertive and being angry. And I think, what's it called? I think Uba said, maybe I don't know what you and your family do. I don't know if you don't know how to stick up for yourself. Maybe you weren't loved the right way. I said, ooh, Uba. That was, you shouldn't have said that. And then that was sent Bryn off. Bryn was like, oh, don't go there with me. Like, I'm not afraid of you like everybody else is. And then, and you saw the way Uba turned around and like, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I said, oh, girl. And you got Andy sitting there like, ooh. So then I think Uba said, Bryn, don't go there with me. She was like, you like to beat, and then Bryn was like, you like to beat people up, but I put them in the hospital. I think she said I put people in the, no, I think either Uba said I put people in the hospital or Bryn said I put people in the hospital. And then I think Bryn was like, I put them in the funeral home or something. I don't know. You got Uba saying I buried, like you have, I buried them or something like that. Because then, no. What happened, this is the thing, what happened was Bryn ended up saying like, I'm half black and Irish. And then that's when Uba said, and bitch, I'm Somali. I will black out on your black side. I said, oh. And here's my thing. Bryn, girl, shut up. Because what was the point of you bringing in your ethnicity to this? Like, I hate when biracial people do that. Especially biracial people that grew up with their white side. Because it's like you relegate your anger and your disrespectfulness to the black side. You didn't grow up black, Bryn. You grew up with your white grandmother, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I hate when y'all do that. Okay? And I'm not hating on the biracials. I got biracial family members and I love them down. Okay? I love them down. Family to the end. But certain ones of y'all, when y'all do that, it's anti-black. Because why are you relegating your anger and your frustrations and your nastiness to the black side of you? Also, Uba, you shouldn't have did the Somali thing because, you know, it's a nasty stereotype they gave you people. But it was weird. Like, Bryn, and then also for Bryn to be like, when people ask me what I am, I'm black, but now you're black and Irish. Yeah, girl, just say you mix. Just say you biracial. Just let it go. Because if you truly were black, you wouldn't feel the need to be like, well, I'm black and Irish. And is you from Wakanda or Asgard? Because you can still get your ass beat up in here. And when Uba told you to shut up, you really got quiet. You ain't say nothing. Eric, look around, everybody on mute. Because she told you to shut up and you... Okay. So then... Next thing you know, Uba and Jenna get into it. Because Uba basically told you, I looked up to you. I thought we was good. And then you said that in the confessional. And then Uba gets really, like, she gets very emotional. Because she was like, I stuck up for all of y'all. When people were coming at you, I stuck. And she really did. Uba really has been like a neutral party with everybody. When someone's being done wrong, Uba sticks up for them. And then Uba starts to break down and pretty much being like, I'm sick of being nice and kind to people. And when it's time for someone to be that way with me, they're not. They're not. And she gets emotional. And I was just like, oh, I kind of felt bad for her because I got where she was coming from. Like, Uba did stick up for almost everybody on that couch. Like, no, everybody. Like, when people were being done wrong and you guys didn't do that for her. Like, nobody really had her back. But that's the plight of being black in a multiracial group. Unless you got real ones that is locked in with you, they gonna always let you fend for yourself. We just gonna have to call a thing a thing. It's gonna have to call a thing a thing. So they then get off of that. Everyone apologizes to Uba. They give her hugs. And then we get to, Jenna brings up the conversation when Uba said, the comment Uba said about like the girls saying that they didn't want Jenna to be a part of the show. I was like, why didn't you bring this up when the comment was brought up? Like, why are we waiting until now? And that's honestly where it ended. Because then they started talking about their mirror moments. And I didn't really care at that. I again say I'd give this whole entire season a 6.8. Yeah, 6.8. A solid 6. Was it great? No. But did it suck? Not really. It was decent for their first time back. I do think they probably, and I know somebody's about to be like, really, Leah? I don't think Jenna should come back. you can kind of tell like this isn't her wheelhouse. I will definitely be surprised if she does come back. But I feel like Jenna should be demoted to a friend of. Maybe Uba should be a friend of as well, and maybe they can throw in 2 new people. But I would like to see everybody come back and see how they move forward for season 15. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.